Hello. Good day. Had a wonderful day today. I hope you did too. It's really amazing being alive. The colors, the sounds, the experiences that we can have, the grace that is available. Grace is always on, yet our receptivity to it can waver. And discipline is the other half of surrender, working in tandem, like a dance. Bring through Ja-Quel. Seems like there's a message here. Seems like it's about allowance. We'll see what happens. Feel free to breathe with me fully in, letting it out and relaxing. Relax, relax. Breathing deeply in, relax, relax, relax. Deeply in one more time, and fully relax into the breath. Yes, it is a message of allowance, of receiving, in a way, like a forceful surrender. Because to be attentive of that which we allow can seem like an oxymoron. A jumbo shrimp, notes of silence that spring forth sound, notes of rest that blossom into action. And yes, you can find action in the rest. Human mind likes to discriminate, to discern one thing from another, which is why we don't drink water through the elbow. And it's good to have humor. Ideas of the comedy and the tragedy, the hills and the valley, the sounds and the silence. Is all here as part of the spectrum of experience. We were talking yesterday about expectations that may build a front, a wall towards receiving something that we plan for. But like Outcast said, you can plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather. Yes, planning to pay taxes, planning the next meal, planning to run the race. But when you bake that cake, even though you followed the recipe 20 times, 20,000 times, might not know exactly how it's going to turn out. An air of mystery, an air of allowance. And yes, grace is always on. The graceful fall being part of the dance. We get down on ourselves for falling. Falling in love. Because we might have gotten burnt before. But if you're always in love, if you're always loving, then you're always falling. And the void is the safest place to jump into. Because it's got no bottom. Sometimes we avoid falling to stay safe. Yet safety builds walls that look like a palace to one and can look like a prison to another. There's a gentle motion of consciousness, of awareness, of attention that flows through every moment. Some do not pick it up. Some are not seeing this. It is super subtle. So by paying attention to the breath, bringing the breath down to your stomach, help to build that awareness over time. You'll find children naturally do this. We learn chest breathing as we age, like Atlas carrying the world on his shoulders. How we sit, how we walk, how we're paying attention to the food that we eat, the words that we say, the music that we listen to, the stories that we watch. There's a thread, a suture of this awareness stringing these things together. What appears separate, what appears in conflict, may not always seem like it is beneficial. Because of logic, because of intellect, we can get used to knowing how the whole staircase looks. But we need not know the whole staircase. We just need to see the next step. One more step. One more breath. One more moment. Ideas of the unknown. Not that the unknown should be known. Not that the mystery needs a resolution. But an allowance that it is always existing. When you start walking, you can see all these places that you haven't been and you want to run towards them. You start reading, you think of and see all the books and words you haven't read. You start working out, you can feel weak. These are all comparisons, projections, maybe from imagination, maybe a possibility. And between a possibility and a reality, there's a distance that we must walk. Do we have the courage to make that walk? Do we have the courage to give up what we think should happen? Can we allow ourselves to live in the mystery in this moment? Not knowing why it is. There may be stories to describe how, but it seems the subjective why is up for interpretation. Allowance does not mean being stagnant. It's quite opposite. Just like kindness is not weakness. by paying attention to the allowing, we set ourselves up to experience grace. Yes, sometimes you need to stop that person from walking across the street. Sometimes you need to smell the food before you eat it. Allowing is not being stagnant. Allowing is not being a pushover. Remember, there's a gentle sway between the parts that we may perceive as separate when actually they are working together. Yin and yang are not separate. They're different aspects of, we could call it one thing. Masculine, feminine, Shiva, Shakti, good and bad. And it's a blessing to take this breath. It's a gift right now, right now, right now. So, with authenticity, can we discover our allowance of truth? Some like to measure this function. But how long is a gallon of milk? Thank you for being present in this moment with yourself and with us, with who you choose to include in your journey. That's good enough, pig. Have a beautiful day.